Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be doing some level design in Unreal Engine 5. It's not really intended to be a tutorial or anything. I'm just going to be painting down some forest environment in this level that I've been working on. I've been working on a survival craft style game like Valheim, and I'll just drop in real quick to kind of show you what I'm going to be doing. This isn't really intended to be a tutorial. It's more like a let's play for level design. So I've got my foliage tool with all of these trees and bushes and plants and stuff loaded up and ready to go. And most of these, when you paint them down, so like let's say I paint a tree down here, didn't need to place this wall, and then I click play and run around. One sec. This thing does not like expanding the windows in play mode. So if I make an axe, I can cut this tree down. So that's kind of the way these assets are designed. They're all nodes basically that can be mined. So like here's a rock, make a pickaxe, mine the rock. So we're making a level that's not just designed for aesthetics, it's got to be actually functional. Some of these aren't finished yet, but here's like an ore. So you get a bunch of ore. So all the stuff we're painting down is fully interactable. And even like that wall that it placed down the first time, let's see, where's that? So if I paint that wall down, then go over and break it, it should drop stone. So all this stuff is fully destructible already. Took me a long time to set all this up. Alright, so the area I'm going to be painting is over here. And I'll probably just put it on fast forward mode for a lot of this and just do like a speed painting environment design thing. Try and keep these out of the way so we have as much screen as possible viewable. Alright, so for starters, let's paint down a forest, landscape texture, and this is using Brushify auto material. So you can see that when I paint down the forest texture, it automatically populates it with a little bit of grass. Get here, brush. A little bit of grass, some sticks, flowers, stuff like that. Just real quickly lock all this in with forest. I wish it didn't rebake navigation every time you paint, because it shouldn't affect the navigation. We can come back and clean this road up later. Right, so real quick, blocked in that. So the reason I'm using the foliage tool for all of this is the foliage tool has really good instance handling, but it's not great for placing down things that you want to be at 90-degree angles, so it doesn't really work well for placing down structures. But it's so much more performant. It has automatic distance handling for when things are far away. It automatically gets rid of them, and it gets rid of them more completely than if they were actors, which is like the normal object in Unreal 5. So I'm going to put a bunch of trees on here, and can just block in a bunch of trees with kind of low density. Yeah, even that's like too high. Still too high. That's kind of more normal. I don't know if I want this tree on there actually. I think most of the time nowadays people would just set up procedural generation for generating a forest like this, but I'm going to do it the old school way and paint it by hand. So that's kind of the basic trees. Add in some bigger trees, maybe one by one because they're huge. Some of these look a little too close together, and I'm going to have to fix the bases of the trees, but just quickly throw down a bunch of big stuff for now and come back and clean it up later. All right, that looks like a pretty decent starting point for a conifer type forest. Try and keep this road clear. I think I'm going to do a mix of trees and not entirely conifer trees. I do have a lot of different tree types to work with, but they don't always look good together. So like, let's see what a beech tree looks like in with these other trees. That looks almost jungly. I don't know if that looks too good with these. I think the black alder trees look pretty good. Here's like a black alder tree. That's the field variety. We want the ones with less branches on the bottom. I think that kind of tree would look okay in some small quantities. It's really dark compared to these other trees though. Let's see what else we got. We got, oh, those are bushes. And I got these. Forgot to disable that tree. Those are also really dark. And these are all megascan trees, so they're not light. So let's see, there should be like one more type of tree. There's poplar trees, but I already know poplar trees are probably not going to look great. Oop, that's not a poplar tree. What is it doing? Oh, did I not select it? Wish there was an unselect all button because now I don't know where that other one is. There. That doesn't really match either. Yeah, kind of two different styles. So I think probably, I don't know about these, maybe some of these. Mostly this kind of tree here and there with the conifer trees. That doesn't look too bad. This one has really complex roots on it, but if it ends up so far underground that you can't see them, kind of doesn't do much. So this sets how far down it is. So we want it maybe close to 0. Usually you want it to be down lower just a bit so that it doesn't float in the air. I'm not sure why this isn't painting like half the clicks that I click. So that looks fine. Try and make these not look like it's the same tree right next to itself. The rest you can't really tell it's the same tree as much because they all kind of look the same, but this one's very unique. What's causing that? Inclusion and exclusion layers are empty. Ground slope angle is a very high value. The max height is not low. Oh wait, was I adjusting the wrong tree? Still doesn't work. Definitely have the right one selected now. No exclusion layers. Collision with world. Oh, maybe it's the collision with world. I don't know how that got turned on. So what if we do like 2? That's too far up. You can start to see the seam on the roots. I think I'm going to change the time of day. It's like early morning. So that's night. Oh, up to 9 o'clock. Here's 8 o'clock. That looks like a pretty good time to paint things in, and you can kind of see what it'll look like with shadows, but you can still see what you're doing. Got too many trees bunched up right here. Is this still 2 trees? Yeah. Way too many in one spot. Is that? Yeah, that's still 2. Trying to make it so that you have a nice visual effect walking through this trail here. So try and make that the focal point. Wow, it does not like moving the window. Make it go to 9 frames a second there for a bit. One other thing too is it can't just be entirely decorative because it is a survival game where certain trees are going to be giving better resources than others. So like I could paint the oak tree in here, but the oak tree gives the tier 2 wood, and this is like right off the starting area. So it probably shouldn't be giving tier 2 wood yet. That should be like farther over there only. So this is like a tier 1 forest. So I do kind of have to keep that in mind when painting things down. It should have like bronze, stone, tier 1 wood, and then the food and stuff that you find in the tier 1 area. Go ahead and paint down a few of these stumps. Maybe I should just put this on brush mode and just go at it. Paint mode. What's this density look like? Oh, that's way too much. How is this so much with 0.02? 0.001? 0.005? Oh, and then this over here where the river is should look nice too. This is river using fluid flux simulation. So to make this river, it's like a water spawner up here, and then it fluid simulates down this waterfall. And then you can bake the simulation so that it's not actually simulating real time, so it's not hogging too much performance. But it looks pretty good. I've got another water feature like this over here. I'll speed up the camera and move over to here. So I got this waterfall that's coming down off of this cliff here and into this valley, and it fills up this valley with a lake. It's got the nice blue waters with the poplar trees around it that looks pretty good. It's one of my favorite areas. And then I've been working on this little ruin area here. But pretty nice views with this nice water. Fluid flux water looks so good. Anyway, jump back to over where I was at. I have to delete some of these. So I'm go ahead and paint down some sticks. It's maybe too many. Is that spawning any? There's one. That doesn't look good. It's like hanging off the cliff. Undo that. All right, let's see. Got some rocks we can throw down. All these mossy rocks. Actually, these are huge if I remember right. So like, let's see how big this one is. Put it like right. Let's see, where's the path? Right there. Yeah, those are pretty big. That looks fine. Let's just move a ways away and put another one down. Oh, that one's tiny. That one near the road. That one's small. Kind of like this big one the best. The rest are all pretty small. And we can come back and paint some texture that doesn't have all of the materials or all of the like grass and flowers and stuff. So there isn't flowers poking out from under the rocks. And also just any minimal performance gain you have not rendering stuff under rocks. Is that 2 trees or 1? I think that's 1. I probably should have painted the forest down with a less dense setting because it put a lot of trees like on top of each other, which isn't really the desired effect. Like these two are on top of each other. Let's see, can we get any trees hanging over the road? I still have a rock selected. Yeah, I still have a rock selected. I thought I might. It doesn't look bad there though. Um, Still debating the alder trees. They do look pretty good, but they kind of clash when you get up close because the color is so much different. From a distance, like looking back here, I think it looks good having those other trees mixed in. Having it mostly conifers with a few deciduous trees mixed in, which I think is realistic. I don't know if too many forests are just completely conifer trees without a single deciduous. Why is that going so sideways? kind of fly through this a little and see what this is looking like. I'll work on the ruins later. I just wanted to blob that down so I'd have like an empty spot where I'm going to be doing a little ruin. Some of this is a little bit too dense. And we don't need this in the ruins. Alright, so I think that's probably good for the trees. I know, maybe a little thin in places still. Let's see if I can get one of these trees that bends and get it to hang over the road. Well, that's kind of small. What about like one of these over the road? You can't change the angle of foliage trees. I don't know if that one's going to work the way the base is so big. Um, Still have that one selected. Let's do that with a few of these normal trees too. Maybe like right in here. Okay. Let's see that. One thing that might cause a problem is some things move around when you paint the terrain, even if you just paint the color of the terrain sometimes. So let's see if this messes with this. Yeah, I was worried about that. This road might need to be painted again before trying to do any of these rotations because I noticed painting the landscape causes the rotations you do with the foliage tool to be undone, which is an annoying problem. I'm not sure why exactly it does that because it's not even changing the ground, it's only changing the terrain. So doing weird rotations like that might have to be something that's only done at the very end, if at all, unfortunately. Or else you can never paint the terrain or just the height. It's the one drawback of the foliage tool. Try and close this in a little bit more. What is it doing now? I think I'm gonna bring this forest right up to the water's edge over here. There was a trail down to it somewhere. I think I'm gonna have this be kind of grass right there, fading into the forest, and try and keep the big things away from the very front, and have it kind of lead into it with shorter trees. think that's good for these big trees. Kind of like how this has a little strip of grass along next to it. I didn't really purposely do that, but it looks good. I'm gonna leave it. So it looks like I was gonna paint it over here too. So blob some trees down over there. It's slightly higher brush density. What? Why is that? There it is. I mean, I guess that one's okay. So then quite a few of these along this edge here where it's starting to turn into grass. Kind of define the boundary of the forest here with smaller trees. Some of them kind of making their way into the grass. I might extend the forest that way more later. All right, I think that's looking pretty good from this perspective where I was intending it to be seen from. Let's see. Get a few more rocks strewn in. That one's like right next to a rock that's identical. Get like a big one right here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Never really did rocks in this area. That's way too big for up there. All right, so now kind of did the big stuff. The trees and the rocks and the smaller trees. Always try and do it biggest first and then move down to smaller things. So next is probably bushes. So I've got some of these hazel bushes that are really dark. What is it painting? They're really dark, but I think they look kind of good, at least the small ones. So I'm just going to scatter a few of these here and there. That one's LOD is kicking in way too early. One thing I didn't really paint any of is the smaller version of these deciduous trees. So I'll turn some of those on. And just scatter some of those around in the empty spots. Shouldn't still have that turned on. Got another tree turned on. Fix this rock, maybe? I'll just delete it. I'll kind of fly through here and see if there's anything that's too close to other things like that. For the most part, it looks pretty good. There's a log intersecting another log. I don't know if these are worth fixing because it's probably going to undo it if I paint the terrain. Just out of curiosity, does that undo that if I paint the terrain? Say I were to paint mud under it? No? Only does it with rotation, or with, yeah, rotation then? Okay, I guess I can fix those and it doesn't undo it. Alright, I'm just going to focus on this path for now. So I did a bunch of raspberries that are actually pickable and you get berries from them along the path. So what else would look good in here? Some of these. These just give plant fiber if you pick them. Where are the raspberries that are selected? Here they are. I wish there was a select unselect everything button somewhere. I don't know if these look super good in here. I just focus on one area for a minute and kind of come up with a palette for the small stuff. I don't know if that looks good. Got these white flowers, and I have other white flowers somewhere near the bottom. I think those look pretty good in here. Give me one with some flowers. There we go. Let's put some flowers up against this plainsy area. Let's see what else. We got mushrooms. Paint down some mushrooms. Maybe just the big ones for now. see. Got some of these other ones too. Paint some of them down. Let's see, what else? I got flint and stones. Oh, that's really small. Just gonna put a few of these here and there. Probably should just turn on the brush tool and just paint a bunch of these down. But I kind of mostly want them along the trail. Just to add a little bit of detail. I can add some ore nodes in here. Let's see, we got copper. Copper nodes kind of don't match the kind of realistic look of everything else. They're like super bright, but it is a game that's meant to be played and you run around and gather resources, so having the ore be prominent is kind of important. It probably wouldn't be very super noticeable if it was realistic. Oh, these are really big. That's really small. All right. Kind of looking around to see if there's any more trees that are stacked. No, there's some. One or the other there. This one looks kind of close. I guess that's okay. That one I guess is okay. I'm gonna put a little trail coming off of this main road going towards the river. So the river's right here. The trail is there. Right in here is like the last point where it's accessible. I'm not gonna do a paved trail, just like a dirt trail. I guess there's already a bunch of dirt right in here. Kind of hard to navigate in this. Either the arrow keys or the mouse. Alright. Not sure why there's still grass on that. So this looks kind of off. Just push it down maybe. Probably gonna have to fly around quite a while and fix these trees that are not quite in the ground. This big tree especially, the base is so small that it's really hard to get it to actually seamlessly go into the ground. Almost every single one is sticking out. Okay, so now for really small stuff, like ferns. Select all ferns that I've got. I thought I had a few more in here. Here's some more. Paint these down. Oop, I still got iron ore selected. Whoa, that's a big fern. Maybe I need to put this on big ferns and small ferns mode. That is way too big. Where's that one at? It's gotta be this one. Max from 3 to 1.8. I'll do more of the clutter work off camera farther into the forest because that could really take a long time. Alright, so let's fly through here. Selecting stuff. Probably shouldn't be selecting anything. I think that looks pretty good. Where's that ruin I originally put down? So the plan was to put a treasure chest in here. Let's see, I can copy one of these existing containers. Move it. Maybe. It's hard to tell where these are in 3D space. Should probably set it up so the chest can be dragged out of the content window, not duplicated, but right now I think it's specifically set up in the scene only. Might have just moved that one to the other side of the universe. Something I could do too, oh wait, no I can't. I was gonna say I could copy the position, but these are foliage, so you can't. Something like that. So let's make this a little more lived in, maybe a bit too much. Kind of fade into a muddy trail here. Too big. Fix this tree. All right, so if I can get it where the trees aren't in the camera. Probably no way of getting that to line up. It should be putting it kind of straight. I wonder why it's not straight. Yeah, this is going to be a pain with the foliage tool painting down buildings. Let's see, what kind of rotation randomness do we have turned on? If we turn off this, I think that makes it a little bit less all over. The original intention with these was more to have it painting down random ruins like these blocks, not so much building structures with the foliage tool, because the foliage tool is really not good enough for that kind of stuff, but can paint down blocks. Let's see, let's make this 1 to 1.5, not so small. Oops, I think I still had this other thing selected. These kind of almost look half buried. That looks better. I couldn't turn the camera speed down. Where is that? Kind of a weird looking building, but whatever. This is one of the non-foliage things I have that's a pick-upable will-o-wisp that's actually an item, but it has a light source on it, so it can't be a foliage. Gotta drag that one in. Alright, so some smaller stuff. Paint down some of these flower things. Is that doing two at once? No, I think it's just a double one. Let's see, we got some floor pieces I could throw down too. Haven't used those yet. That needs to be slightly higher. Kind of like right there. Same thing, this one has to come up a bit. I don't know if I like that. It's too big. Got some tombs over here. Second or there we go. Let's kind of mark this grave a little with some stones. Is that stone floating? Not really, but kind of landed at a weird angle. All right. And that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to throw down some more stones. Kind of make more of a building outline. One other thing about the foliage tool version of painting stuff is you can't stack things without manually doing it. It's only painting it onto the landscape. So you're a little limited. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Let's put like a big, huge rock. Let's see if we can frame in the back of this with a little bit more forest and have some light streaming in through this clearing and have some trees in front, so it's just letting a little light into this little area. Let's see, where's my trees? Not seeing the conifers. There they are. That's not a tree. Why is that not painting? Zero reason for it to not be painting. do some small trees in the front here. Okay, how about some medium-sized stuff like bushes? We got elderberry plants and like an elderberry growing in here. Let's see, what kind of flowers and stuff to use? Lupins? I don't know if lupins look good in a forested area. They're kind of more of an open field type thing. What else do we have? We got these, but these are really small. Although they look really good if you put them right next to the trail where you run into them. I really like that, but they're so small. You gotta put them in areas where players are looking down and might actually see them. Oh, wow, that's really small. So putting them in this ruin where people are going to be looking around for treasure, and like these plants are edible, so people are probably going to be picking those. So putting these around that makes the best use out of tiny assets that you only see up close. Let's see, those are all raspberries. We got this white flower. It looks okay. And then I got some of these things that are very small too. They almost look the same, but their leaves are a little different. Let's kind of do a little border of these. For people encountering this ruin from some other angle to see. I wonder if it would look too dumb to have a sunflower or two growing out of here right where the sun is coming in. That kind of looks ridiculous, but it just doesn't really fit in the biome. I've done mushrooms in here. Could do some of these. Do some of the redder ones this time. Kind of want one of the big ones first. There we go. Come on, give me a big one. There we go. All right. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna run around on foot in here. Save it. Enter play mode. Load my save with my non-naked character. Oh, it's nighttime. I guess that's fine. What was that? Here's my little house thing that I threw together. Kind of off topic, but we'll talk about this in another video. This is a building crafting game like Valheim, building houses, but it has defense mechanics. So like enemies will come attack my base and I've got these towers to shoot them. Why is this virtual resizing thing doing this? So let's see, time of day. It's way too dark. Come on. Make it like morning. Flag that way, that out of the way. Right, so run through here. So all of these trees should, no, hopefully be cuttable. Really? Why aren't they cuttable? So that one's cuttable. That one's cuttable. These barriers are pickable. Pick up everything around you by holding E. So you got like mushrooms you can eat. Why are there all these deer stacked in the middle of the road? I have to move that spawner and maybe make it more of a wider radius. So here's this thing. I'm not sure where the floating vault went. Something being killed by arrow towers? Not exactly sure what's going on over there. Deer are having a war or something. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Probably look even better if the orb I put in there was actually there. Not sure why it's gone. Look a little better when the deer are looking a little more natural and not just standing in the middle of the road. And that LOD was way too close, billboarding close. Very work in progress. Gonna have to go through and polish a lot of this stuff, but I'll do that off camera. We got this nice waterfall we can stumble across. Jump for it. Here's a view of the forest from up above. Good. Something spawned another ruin when it's shattered. I need to fix that. Got this little space that I made. Another little point of interest. These will-o-wisps you can harvest. Random loot from the crate. Look how good the lighting looks in this. Is Lumen turned on? Yeah, so we're on epic quality with Lumen enabled, DLSS ultra quality. Got like 0 fall damage turned on. Here's these enemies, I'm not sure what they're doing. But yeah, in the end, this game's going to be like a defensive base game. With enemy waves attacking you, and you got your towers to defend your base. I guess that's about it for this video. I'll try and make some more of these level design type game dev related videos. Pretty happy with how this turned out so far, but obviously you gotta come back and do a bunch more cleanup. But hopefully you guys enjoyed watching, and have a good one.